those of you that don't know, BMW uses wheel, basically bolts. So what you can do is a conversion to put wheel studs on the wheel, and then you don't have to use these bolts anymore. And that's what I'm doing today. So I went with the Apex wheel stud kit. Let me open this real quick. Kind of show you what I'm working with. I lost my other knife. Freaking driving me crazy. Anyways. So here's what it comes with. I like the 90mm studs. So that's what I got. I was worried for a second they weren't all here. So basically here's the new studs. And I got the kit with the lug nut also. And then I went ahead and just bought their install kit too, which is basically just an Allen wrench key and some Loctite. So essentially, what you're doing is you're replacing the wheel bolt with the wheel stud. The reason you do this is instead of having to have bolts and having to line up the wheel and stuff, you just put a stud on just like a normal car would. And I went with the 90mm just because I like how they stick out a little bit more. Plus it gives you the option to run up to like I think a 30mm adapter on it. So basically, instead of screwing this in, you just screw this in, Loctite up. This side has an Allen key insert, and you just screw it in and you bolt it on. Really simple install, and for me, it's well worth the time. I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed real quick and go from there. All right, I like to get a wire brush, clean out the lugs a little bit. Just kind of prep them. Cleans up the area just a little before you get started. And then from there, just get your thread lock. I like to use a little bit more than's actually necessary. Never feel bad about skimping on the, or never feel bad about going overzealous on the thread lock. Get that on there. And then you just basically just threading these in. You don't have to torque these down very much, which is kind of surprising. I think it's like 30 pounds per each. I like to give it a little bit more. It's going to need to straighten through the rotor. Just make sure it's in there good, and then obviously do a crisscross pattern just to kind of make sure the rotor's straight on there, and then just tighten them in. I'll show you the final product in a second. As you can see, the difference between that and screwing this in, obviously there's a lot of perks to that. So I'm a huge fan. I've already mentioned that. Get you some wheel studs. Worth the money. And there you go. That's it right there. Very simple install. I highly recommend it. Go out there and do it. I think this kit cost me like 150 bucks with shipping, but that's because I went with the Apex bolts. Spend the money. Don't go on Amazon and buy like cheap bolts and stuff. Last thing you want is these to break off and your wheel to go flying down the road. There's some things you can get different products on, but when it comes to your wheels coming to the contact with the ground, just spend the money. Buy once, cry once.